I did not become filmmaker by choice. I go with the flow, as life starts leading you in a certain direction. But I always wanted to be a storyteller. And the reason we are connected with each other, you and I or anybody, is because of stories. Right now when I'm talking to you, this is also a process of meditation. We are so involved deeply in this process of doing this podcast right now that for me that itself is a process of meditation. So meditation is my work, which I do, my writing, my thinking. For me, if a film is, or whatever your creation is, if it is not making an impact either in the hearts of the people emotionally or their minds, if it is not helping change attitudes or at least making people aware about changing attitudes, then it's not a creation. Then it is imitation. What is beyond those mountains? That's where the creativity begins. If there is no dark night, there is no creativity. Every creative person is broken, shattered from inside. We are damaged goods. I think I have been able to reach a creative consciousness. Who am I? You say, okay, I am Vivek Agnihotri. But again you ask, who am I? I'm more than Vivek Agnihotri.
Mr. Vivek Agnihotri, it's truly an honor to have you here on the show. I'm really excited to have this podcast and conversation with you today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'd like to start off by asking how your understanding of consciousness shaped your approach to filmmaking.
Okay, so that's a very interesting question. I did not become filmmaker by choice. Okay, I go with the flow, as life starts leading you in a certain direction. But I always wanted to be a storyteller. And the reason we are connected with each other, you and I or anybody, is because of stories. So it's very simple. You can see in life when you meet somebody. And so what's the takeaway? Okay, knowledge, you forget after some time. The only thing which you remember and something which you carry with you is that emotional exchange, the
Yes.
connect from heart to heart. And that slowly becomes a story in your mind. That's why we collect photographs. So as a storyteller, I realized that there are so many people, so many emotions, so many characters, but at the root of it, there is something common which binds us. You see, there's so much of war happening in this world. There's so much of conflict. Why people are always talking about peace? There is one common element in this entire universe, and even animals want peace.
Yeah.
We want peace. And what is this peace? How do you define it? We see a movie and we say, oh wow, we feel good about it. You feel great after seeing a certain film. Or a film can give you intellectual stimulus or gives you emotional stimulus.
Exactly.
But as long as it gives you stimulus, it connects you with the central thought at the core of that film. And we say, what is the soul of the film? So what is the soul of the film? The soul, the moment you say soul, the moment you say that core belonging, the core connection, is always necessary, the consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay, but then consciousness is not something which means the same thing for everybody. There are different levels of consciousness you have to evolve. All of us mostly start with tribal consciousness. Most of the when we are collective, when we are too many people together, why wars? Thousands of people in this army, thousands of people in that army, and they go on to kill each other. But when you meet one-on-one, you don't kill each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so say right now we live in a very conflicted world. That's how it appears because of the social media. It appears everything is amplified.
Yeah.
But at the core, somewhere we are all connected with that consciousness. And so when you are at a level of tribal consciousness, you'll connect with people at tribal consciousness. Okay, tribal consciousness is that you believe that you are a tribe and the other person belongs to the other tribe, and you think my tribe is better, that tribe is evil, so let's destroy and kill that tribe.
Separation,
Yeah, football fan clubs, what are they? They are tribes.
Yeah.
They want to destroy each other. They want to go for a kill. Same thing is happening. What is elections, these political systems, even democracy.
Yeah.
In US, I'm here, and last 3 4 days I'm observing Democrats want to destroy Republicans want to destroy them. Everybody, that is a tribal consciousness.
Yes.
So I realized that I felt I don't want to be part of all this. Okay, because I was not getting power. In fact, this tribal consciousness was taking the power away from me. It was taking out whatever Shakti I had,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
So in Hindu philosophy, there is a concept of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva and Shakti.
Yes.
And so you become Shiva, you can't become Shiva without Shakti. Okay, but if somebody takes the Shakti out of you, what will happen? Then Shiva will have no meaning. And that's how I realized that if I have to create, if I have to talk about big ideas, unless it's just a product commodity and you're throwing it in the marketplace, for as a commodity, as a product. But if I want to contribute to idea, if I want to make an impact, I want to change, then I have to evolve from this materialistic, from this tribal consciousness to another level. And today I can say I have, after many years of uh, uh, meditating and after many years of spiritual life, I think I have been able to reach a creative consciousness. Okay. There's divine consciousness, which is the ultimate, but creative consciousness basically is about the creator, the creation, and the creativity. Okay, so normally we look at the world only in two terms: creator and the created, the creation. There is God and this created us.
Yes.
There is universe, there is nature, mother nature, and us.
And us.
So we divide. That is dualism. Okay,
Dualism.
but what is the relationship between these two? It's a process, and that process is creativity. So creativity is not something you pick up a brush and you paint something and you say, oh, it's over. It's a process which continues.
It is.
The process which is going on. I may have finished the shooting of my film, but the process of that storytelling is still going on. And since I'm sitting here in this podcast, it's a process of that. So for me, this is not separate from my filmmaking. Okay, this is part of that. This podcast which I'm doing with you. This is part of that. It's part of that creativity. And that filmmaking is part of this entire creativity of my life. Living life itself is creativity.
That's true. Yeah, very
Right?
much. Yeah.
Living life itself is
It
creativity.
is creativity. Yeah.
So discovering the consciousness is what? Awareness. So this awareness that you are constantly in the process of creativity, there is not even a second. Look at the world. We talk about God. So why do I have to imitate or be inspired from a human being? Why not be inspired from God? Why not be inspired from Mother Nature? What is Mother Nature doing all the times? It's constantly non-stop creating.
It is creating. Yeah.
It's a process of creativity. Now, in the end, I'll tell you, look at your body. Okay, even when you're sleeping, your body is creating something. It's creating new cells. It's destroying old cells, creating new cells. It's creating thoughts, creating all the time. There is not even a moment. As long as you're breathing, some creation is going on. So inhaling and exhaling itself is a process of that creativity,
breath.
which is enabling you to survive, live. So I think survival itself is a creative process. As long as we are on this earth, we are part of this divine creativity. So understanding that is creative consciousness. So that is what I basically spend my time, and that gives me the Shakti to create what I'm being able to create.
Wow, beautifully said. And even yesterday at the event, at the Infinity Foundation event, you spoke about creativity, and you spoke how in this day and age, in order to bring a change, creativity is the realm where we can make that change.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And especially when it comes to bringing India to the big picture and really, really sharing our values of Sanatan Dharam, creativity is the way to go. So it's definitely something that I resonate with. I wanted to ask, do you view the process of directing as a meditative or transcendent act?
Oh, 100%. For me, a lot of people ask me that you looks like you meditate a lot. Yes, I do, but I don't meditate sitting. Of course, I do that too, but I don't consider that as meditation. Just sitting at a place, closing your eyes, and just focusing somewhere. For me, that is not meditation. That is just one of the tools of meditation.
Mm,
So whatever I am doing right now when I'm talking to you,
yeah,
this is also a process of meditation. We are so involved deeply in this process of doing this podcast right now,
we are.
that
Yeah.
for me that itself is a process of meditation. So meditation is my work which I do, my writing, my thinking, everything. I mean, from here I'm going for a meeting in Central Park. So when I walk with the person, that is meditation.
Wow. You know, a lot of people talk about meditation as a specific practice, doing in the morning, doing in the evening. But like you said, it is true. It's throughout the day, you can be in a meditative state. Everything you're doing, this podcast we're doing together, we are in that meditative state together. We have that connection, that vibrational frequency between us. It is very much there.
Yeah, because right now what matters is this moment where you are right now. Tell me anything. Acha, okay, this is all. We confuse a lot of things, and intellectual people have a habit to make things very complex, so that
Yeah.
people feel that what they are saying is something very important, and but I'm not being able to understand. So yes, this guy knows more
Very.
than me.
Yes.
No,
No.
when two people sit in a meditative place, then nothing should be complex. Everything should be simple. In fact, meditation should make everything simple, simpler, as simple as possible. If things are becoming complex, you are not in meditation state.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. If things are not becoming simple, okay, then you are not even part of the consciousness, right?
Mhm.
The reason things are appearing complex to you is because you are not in that consciousness.
Yeah.
If you're in consciousness, it will be all very simple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that state of like equanimity, like just being there. I saw a film recently. It was, I think, 1984. It
Yeah,
was released, and that was the second one called Being There, and it was just so beautiful. It showed someone in their pre-egoic state, and how in every moment he's
yeah.
just completely present, and that's what meditation is at the end of the day. You know, I also wanted to ask you, can storytelling be a path of self-realization and transformation?
Oh, of course. So, see, I'll tell you what.
Mhm.
Anything can be, uh, anything can lead you to this. Anything can transcend you. Okay, where you want to be transcended.
Mhm.
Provided you are absolutely clear about it. You know in your mind why are
Yes.
you doing. Why you must have seen something that wherever people are sitting, you if there's food, you'll pick up something and eat. You go pass by their grapes, you'll pick up two grapes and eat.
Mhm.
Okay. What do you when you go to somebody's house,
Uh-huh.
have something to drink? You say tea, coffee. It's like a custom,
It's a
right?
custom, yeah.
You don't even know why are you doing that. Okay,
Mhm.
we are not even aware. Do you need it? Is it the demand of your body?
Mm.
So we somebody says drink 4 5 liters of water, and we are drinking like idiots. We are just drinking, carrying these huge big
Yeah.
bottles, and we are drinking all the times. Why?
True,
So
true.
uh, you have to be aware. Why are you doing what you are doing?
Yeah.
Okay, and there has to be a certain need for doing something. So it's like you play music.
Yeah.
It's your need, it's your inner calling, it's your
It is.
need.
Mm.
What are you doing playing those songs? It's not that you are creating songs. No, don't be mistaken. You are trying to find your song. And one day you will find your song and you'll keep the guitar away and you will go quiet. Then there's no need to sing anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of us are doing things in order to transcend to somewhere, some place. And that some place is nothing but that peace, Sadachitanand we call in Hindi, we call it Sadachit Anand.
Mhm.
That's a state of bliss.
Yes.
Okay, state of bliss. And as far as you are saying storytelling, let me tell you, this entire world is a story, right?
Mhm.
Tell me something, if it's not a story, if it is as real as we think it is, when you go off to sleep,
Mhm.
where does it go? Where does it go? and you see dreams. Okay, when you get up in the morning, where do those dreams go?
Man, you forget them.
Right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if I ask you right now, okay, make a sum total of your life, what are the 3, 4 things you remember in your life? Okay, there won't be achievements, there'll be general stories. Okay, stories.
Stories.
Okay, that's why you'll find all the religions are told through stories. Everything. Where is this democracy? Show me. Where is this? It's a story. You are being told this is a story, that everything ultimately is story. Human beings are walking stories. So as a filmmaker, for me, it's very see, unless and until I'm in creative consciousness, okay, I don't see people as stories, then I see people as people. Okay, you are seeing a black person, a white person, a big guy, a thin guy, a tall guy, a short guy, Indian, American. That's how you're looking at people. I don't look at people like that. I look at them as stories. A lot of people ask me, okay, what do you prefer, New York downtown or Chicago downtown? Okay, for me, I is it a downtown? Just because you are calling it downtown, is it a downtown? Or is it just lots of people in one place walking from here to there? So for me, that is story, and I like to pick up those raw emotions, conflicts, and the real things from the world, and all these things from the world, put them in one pot, and I cook something out of that. So that's my process. That's how I look at it.
That's a beautiful process. And I think that's what creativity is all about. I mean, going out into the nature, going out into the real world, and actually taking from that. Every single person walking down in the street, like you said, downtown, uptown, whatever it is, everybody has their own story, and you're deriving it from that. So it's very, very beautiful. I wanted to talk, and this is a little bit personal as well, from my own experience as an actor, and I wanted to get your take on this. I, you know, I started acting when I was 17 years old, and you know how acting is. You get a script, you have an audition, you get the part, but you don't have that much freedom of control on what role you're playing. But at a certain point, I did a project where I had to play kind of like a drug lord, kind of like an Al Pacino kind of a character. They made me completely change my hair to blonde and all that. And after that project, I kind of had a self realization that what am I actually doing as an actor? Um, is this project going to impact people negatively? What is the impact going to be on the society? That's what I wanted to ask you as a director, as a creative professional. How important is it that we have that responsibility of creating content that either positively or negatively affects a society?
See, if I can't talk on behalf of anyone else. I can just speak about what I do and what I
Yes.
believe in. Um, for me, if a film is, or whatever your creation is, if it is not making an impact either in the hearts of the people emotionally or their minds, if it is not helping change attitudes, or at least making people aware about changing attitudes, then it's not a creation. Then it is imitation, you know. So you go to market, you get so many brands, so many clothes, you wear them. Do they make an impact on you? If it is not making, then it's not a designer stuff. It's not designed. So most of that stuff is imitation. And so as far as I am concerned, in my films, I've like after the Kashmir Files, my new film of the trilogy, perhaps the last film of the trilogy, called the Delhi Files Bengal chapter. Now this film, a lot of people ask me, why are you making this film? Okay, why do you make socio-political films? I'll tell you why. Because the problem in India is that we don't know our own history. It's not that it's our fault that we don't know our history. We don't know our history because a lot of people, after freedom, after the independence, who came in power, decided not to tell the truth of our history, and they told a version of history, okay, which is feel good kind of a story to make everybody happy. Okay, everybody is nice, and we forgot. that we have one of the most tragic histories.
Yeah.
We are the only society in the world which was enslaved for 1,000 years, first by Mughals and then by Britishers, and some part Dutch and French people also.
Yeah.
Um, and they were cruel to us. They took all our rights. They made us their slaves. They started writing dogs and Indians not allowed,
Yeah.
and our population suffered from poverty. In Bengal famine, millions of people died. In partition, millions of people died. Women were raped, innocent children were killed, women were hanged in butcher shops. You know, now, unless and until you know this tragic part of your history, how will you correct it? How will you create a better future?
Yeah.
Okay, if you think everything was very nice, everything was so beautiful, and we had a glorious past, then you become lazy, and that's I don't want. I want my films to shake people up,
Yeah.
awaken them,
Awaken.
like Swami Vivekananda said, "Arise, awaken." So wake them up. Say, "Hey, come on, look at this." You know. So it's like somebody's in a deep sleep. Wake that person. He says, don't wake me." Then you pick that person up, throw him out in the balcony, and he opens his eye and he sees two things. Either there is big fire outside in the forest, or he sees it's such a beautiful, lovely sunrise. So both ways you are stirring things up, you are creating. And when you do that, with my film, The Delhi Files Bengal chapter, people are going to be tremendously, terribly disturbed. When they are disturbed, then say, no, yaar, injustice was done to us. Okay? Otherwise, everybody is talking about, say, in Indian politics, if you see, everybody is talking about Muslim persecution. That is the narrative I see in US.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying, Muslims are this thing. What about us? We are the India is the only country for Hindus. Only country.
Yeah.
Okay? And if we don't have right to talk honestly about our civilization, our culture, our our spirituality, our concepts, our themes with pride and without being interfered, without being told by the people what is right and wrong for us. We don't want to be taught lessons by the West or by anybody for that matter. Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, we don't want to appease anyone. We don't want to say, hey, you are minority, so you have all the rights and we have no rights. That is wrong. In my eyes, we are all children of God. We are all connected with one consciousness. And here is a place on this earth which gave birth to spirituality. If conflict and chaos is the problem, then Hindu spirituality is the answer.
Yes.
Hindu philosophy is the answer. We talk about oneness. We don't talk about othering people. So it's very important to show people what happens when religious fundamentalism takes over. Then direct action day happens in Bengal. Then Kashmir genocide happens. Then Mopla genocide happens. When you give freedom to these religious fundamentalists who like a tribe say, my tribe is better, your tribe is evil, and therefore we'll destroy you. Unless and until my films show that reality to the younger generation, how will they ensure that after this in India there is no religious fundamentalism? You have to have that awareness. Without that awareness, you cannot do that. And second thing I want to achieve with this film, The Bengal Files, I want to emotionally stir people up. It's only when you are emotional about things, when you're angry or you're in pain, that's when you create a lot of vacuum, and where there you are able to get new ideas and you have space for a change. You can never change if it's fulfilled. Suppose there is a bucket full of water. If you want fresh water, some old water has to come out. So I want this comfort in which Hindu society is living today. I want them to make them uncomfortable, so that they themselves go and seek and search what makes them comfortable. Then they will realize that this great pride in this glorious civilization, this great civilization, okay, which has answers to the world's problems. That is what I want to achieve with this film, The Delhi Files. Yeah.
No, I really look forward to watching it as well, and you're totally right. You have to make people a little bit uncomfortable in order to awaken them.
Yeah.
If you don't if you don't project the truth to what it really is, how will people actually be shaken up, right? So I totally resonate with that. Um, I also want to talk to you about my first podcast that I did with David Lynch, and
That's one of the reasons I came here,
oh
because
wow,
you interviewed David Lynch here, one of the greatest filmmakers.
and beautiful soul too. Yeah, he the first thing he told me was that, Ariane, there's very few people who have what we call an it factor, that they walk into a room and they
What's
just
actor?
an it factor,
It.
it factor. And he says they just walk into the room and there's some sort of glow, there's some sort of aura, and he called that consciousness in our podcast. I would love to get your take on that.
Of course, I mean, um, there are things you get attracted to.
Mhm,
Don't you think so? Okay, if you go to a forest, there are thousands of trees. There is one tree, you want to go and sit under that tree.
mhm,
Okay, so he's right. David Lynch is right. You see thousands of people. There's one person you get attracted to. So at consciousness level, you are connected. You
mhm,
are vibing the same thing. You are
mhm.
part of the same vibration. Like frequency.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
it's exactly like frequency.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, you that everything works at a certain frequency.
Mhm,
Okay, like television, you shoot with a camera, you'll see lots of lines. Why do you see those lines? Because frequencies don't match. I
mhm.
wish in marriages, before getting married, people have some test machine like that, put it in front of the other person, and if it is showing lots of lines, which
Yeah,
means you're not matching, if there are no lines, yes, this is the person, go and get married.
yeah.
I'm just kidding, but
No,
yes. Why can't you record? Because something is moving at 24 frames per second, something is moving at 30 frames per second.
mhm,
The waves are different.
mhm,
It's only when you are on the same frequency, same vibration,
mhm,
then you get connected to that consciousness. So,
mhm,
say for example, you are an alcoholic.
mhm.
Okay, you drink.
Yeah.
Okay, and why do you go to a bar? You can drink in a temple also,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
You can drink anywhere in the world,
True.
right?
True.
At sunrise, beautiful sun is coming out, take a glass and you can drink. But no, you go to a bar to
Go to
drink,
the bar.
because
Yeah.
bar creates those vibrations.
Mm. Yeah. It
Okay,
does.
so when you go in, you are part of that vibration.
Mhm,
Okay, you start going to a temple, you start thinking differently. The same person, 7 days you go to a temple every morning and evening,
mhm.
you'll feel different. 7 days you go to a bar every evening, you'll feel
You
different.
feel
You
different.
become another person. The vibrations create us and we create vibrations. It's a vicious cycle. You cannot say what is separate from who. Okay,
Yeah.
we came on this earth because of vibrations. Okay,
Mhm,
and then once we come here, then we are also creating vibrations. So this creativity you were talking about is nothing but a contribution to that vibration. Okay, and depends what kind of vibrations you are at. Your higher vibrations, lower vibrations, mid vibrations. So when we say divine consciousness, why spirituality is very important?
mhm,
Because it takes you towards those vibration ecosystem, okay, where you find divine vibes,
mhm. That's true.
you know
Divine vibes. Yeah.
yeah. So, or I'll give you another example, like for example, there's a candle. Okay, and when you light a match or whatever, you light it up and then there's a flame. Okay, you say, oh wow, where does this flame come from?
Mhm.
Because the gases were there. Flame is nothing but just gases.
Yeah.
These are gases. When they are reacted with a certain thing, then you start noticing them, you start
Mhm.
seeing them. So gases were there.
It was already there. Yeah.
Okay, once the flame comes up, you start seeing it.
That's only when you start seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So similarly, all of us, the gases are there, the vibration is there. But while you go to a guru, that guru is the one who lights up that flame. That you need a little something, some chemical, something extra.
Mhm,
Okay, once it's there, there's a flame,
mhm.
right? Like in the simple way switch, the electricity is already running right now.
Yeah.
One switch you do tuck and it's on, you
It's on.
off. Okay, so that's the factor he's talking about. Some people
Right.
have that factor.
Right.
Once they go there, then the candles light up, then the fans start twirling, AC turns on. Everything you will find you can do with that.
What a beautiful metaphor. And I I kind of resonate with his film like Mulholland Drive, just like what he did with Mulholland Drive, how he actually showed the harshness of the Hollywood industry
Oh yeah,
in that movie.
one of the greatest movies.
Yeah. Oh my God. The same thing you did with Kashmir Files. You know, you showed the truth. You showed the harshness. You weren't afraid to show the truth. And you know, that's something that's really respectable. Um, you know, you were talking about awakening the audience. And that's something as a musician myself, I've written a song that it's unreleased right now, but
Are you
it's
gonna play it for me?
I would love to if
I would love to hear. Yeah,
yeah,
please go
so
on.
I'll sing a little verse for you,
Yeah.
and it has a little aspect of a Advaita Danta in it as well.
Okay, let's see.
रात की तन्हाइयों में रास्तों का पता खोजता हूँ मैं खुद को खुद से ही क्यों जुदा दिल की गहराइयों में सपने बुनते हैं जीवन के इस लहर में हम बहकते क्यों हैं सच्चाई की तलाश में अब खुद को खोजता हूँ आवारा हूँ मैं खुद को पाने निकला हूँ सत्य चित आनंद वही तो राज है निर्गुण सागुण दोनों ही साज है गुजर जाते हैं पल जिंदगी के मंजिल वही है मंजिल वही है आवारगी 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 आवारगी
That's a little sick.
Very soulful.
Thank you. sir.
Very soulful.
Thank you.
Look at your eyes
Yeah,
right now.
I'm
See,
tearing up.
this is transcending.
Yeah.
This is what transcending is.
And
Very
That's why.
soulful. Beautiful. I loved it. And I wish you all the best.
thank you so much. And just like you do with your work, with your film work, I can see that you're in that meditative state while you're working as well. And you transcend while you make these films. And that's what I'm doing with my music. It's that transcendence that gets you there.
Very good job. Very
Mhm. Now, moving on to some of the other questions that I had. Where does creativity come from?
Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what. I can answer it in two parts. First, we have to understand the fundamental of the formula. See, we every living thing breathes. So that is the nature's, God's gift to us, that we can breathe, so we survive. If we don't breathe, we are nobodies. Okay, we are just dust. Okay, so that's a great gift, and we should always take care of that gift, and we should worship that gift, and we should be grateful for that. The second gift that God has given only to human beings is the power of imagination. Okay, we imagine. As a children, when we are born, we imagine. We are imagining all the times. In our minds, you can create any world which doesn't exist. You can, okay, what happens when two people talk? Okay, if somebody is giving, you go to a lecture, somebody is giving a lecture and hundreds of people are sitting, and after some time, slowly, it doesn't matter what this guy is saying, your mind is wandering, going in places which do not exist. You know, we can think of things which don't exist. We can visualize anything we want in this world, we can imagine. So that is our second gift, right? That's why we should treasure that. Now, you'll say, if everybody has that gift, yes, everybody has. And exactly the same power. Everybody has the same power to breathe. Everybody has the same power to imagine. Okay, there is no difference. There is no discrimination over there. Okay, the way you breathe, the way I breathe, unless you destroy your lungs by smoking or something else, or there is some defect from childhood.
Yeah.
So you have power to breathe, you have power to imagine. But creativity is what you do with that power of imagination. Okay, So you can imagine, but you can just lie down on your bed and you can imagine that you are uh, um, in a place where there are just everything is beautiful and you have everything to eat and there are beautiful women, and you can think of a world like that. You can think of a world which is very selfish, which is for you, what makes you happy and good. Second thing is, the real creative process begins when you are curious, when you ask the first question, when you are a child and your mother says, just sit there, don't go anywhere. And you say, Mom, what is beyond those mountains? That's where the creativity begins. Society generally shuts you up. Society doesn't want you to be creative. Society needs loyal soldiers, obeying workers. That's why society doesn't, because anybody asking question is a mischief. He's a trouble for others. Who's going to answer these questions? Because they are not answers to every question. So if you can't answer the question, you look like an idiot. So therefore, shut this person up. So everybody tries to shut you up. In the real world also, everybody wants you to shut up.
That's true.
So when you ask first question, and you have to seek answers to that. And in order to seek answer, you move, you walk, you go somewhere, or you now not physically, now you have internet, but you search, you inquire, and you search, and then you experiment. And when you experiment, you get some results which are good, which are not good, and then you discover something. Ultimately, you discover, and there's a discovery. Okay. Now you'll say, okay, I have understood. So you're curious, you inquire, you experiment, and you discover. No, this is not where it ends. You discover. When you discover, the entire problem with creativity is people discover some new things. Okay. This is the time to destroy everything else which you have learned so far. With this new discovery, you have to learn new things. So you destroy everything, but we don't destroy. We accumulate this also. We want to keep this also. We store this. And after that, we think we have discovered something. No, you have discovered something, but you can never learn anything as long as you have old learnings. So you have to destroy them. Why does Shiva destroy everything?
Yeah.
Right? So you can create new things. So you recreate.
Through destruction, you can
Of
create.
course.
Yes.
How is it possible? I told you there's a bucket and it's full of water.
Yeah.
You have discovered there's better water now available, but what's the point? Because your learnings, there's no capacity to learn anymore. So you take out the old water, fill it with new water, as long as it's water, okay? And then after some time, you'll discover something else. So it's a continuous process. That's what I was trying to tell you, that creativity is a continuous process. Curiosity, inquiry, search, experiment, discovery, new learnings. New learnings, before new learnings become conditionings, you discover again, you ask new question, right? And so like in spirituality, it begins with, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh, no.
so who am I? You say, okay, I am Vivek Agnihotri. Okay, you've learned that,
Yes.
but again you ask, who am I? I'm more than Vivek Agnihotri. I'm a man. Who am I? Okay, I am Vivek Agnihotri, who's a man from India. Who am I? I am this, I am Hindu. And slowly you will find you'll gradually keep getting out of all the labels, all the forms, all the structures, and you won't feel bound. You cannot be defined anymore. Who am I? I am nobody. I am nothing. The moment you say I am nothing,
You said it. Yeah.
okay, you are liberated. Oh, I am nobody. I am nothing. And you are liberated. That is moksha in the real world. That is nirvana. That is liberation. You have destroyed everything which you think you are, and then you. So in creativity, how I do it, I'll tell you my process of filmmaking. How I do it, I start, and it will help you as an actor.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
But don't make it like your rule.
Yeah.
You should discover your own learnings. This is mine.
Of course.
Okay, how I do it? I say, okay, this is the story I want. This is an idea which is not leaving me. Okay, it's not leaving me. This question is not leaving me. Like, for example, in case of Delhi, the Delhi Files Bengal chapter. The question was in my mind that, okay, if India got partitioned because of communal violence and communal separation and communal fundamentalism, then if the partition was the solution to that problem, then why 80 years later we are still struggling with that? That was the question in my mind. Okay. Now that question led me to one story. Okay. I threw it in a dustbin. Then led me to another story because I already learned something about it. So that anyway became my asset. So I moved again. I wrote 21 drafts of this film. And then on editing table, again, we are doing different versions. So by the time we finish, we'll have some 30 odd drafts of this film, and all different from each other. Nothing matches. Even the names of the protagonists and antagonists are different in every draft. So I kept moving. Okay, after I'll finish this film is released. I do not visit my work ever again. I make a film, I never look at it again. I don't even remember the dialogues unless somebody reminds me. I don't even remember dialogues, music, anything of that film. It's over. It's gone. I reach one, I destroy that. And that's why I'm being able to create. Otherwise, for any other filmmaker, after the great blockbuster success of the Kashmir Files, it was but natural, logical, rational to make another Kashmir Files because you have a ready-made audience. Why would a detergent manufacturer with a very successful brand would make cars? He shouldn't be making that. Why should Coca-Cola suddenly launch health products? They will keep making Coke, zero Coke, no Coke, Diet Coke, this Coke, that Coke, etc., Coke.
Exactly.
Why would you lose your branding?
Yeah.
But if you see, every single film of mine is so different from the other film, you can't even imagine. It's a totally new world. So I think as a filmmaker, my challenge, my creativity is to take you in an universe which neither you have experienced before nor I have experienced before. So let both of us experience it before, okay, for the first time. And if it connects us, then we get connected with a certain creative consciousness. Okay, now it's time to go and discover another dimension of this creative consciousness. Consciousness, very often where we go wrong is because of the way spirituality is explained in lectures and books. We think this consciousness is one place. It is something you have to achieve. It is something you have to learn. You are the consciousness. You are the consciousness. It's not there is consciousness and you have to do it. So I ask, what are you going to achieve by closing your eyes and meditating? What are you focusing on? Where is this consciousness? You are the consciousness. That's why you close your eyes. You discover your own consciousness. Otherwise, you'll keep your eyes open and then you look for consciousness here and there. And that's what people are doing. They are buying books to discover consciousness. They are going to listen to this guru, then that guru, then etc. 1 million places. I say, you are the consciousness. You are the creativity.
You are that.
Thou art that. Tattvamasi, you are that. You don't have to go anywhere. That's why my films, I'm not a typical Bollywood kind of filmmaker. My films don't belong to any format. I challenge you. You tell me if my film belongs to any genre. There's no reference before that and after that. My film Buddha in a Traffic Jam has no reference before and after that. Tashkent Files has no reference before and after that. The Kashmir Files has no reference before and after that. The Delhi Files also, I'm telling you, will have no reference before and after that.
That's
the only film which had a reference was the vaccine war. The reason was because we made on something which happened recently. People lived in COVID period and immediately COVID came out. I made that film. And so there was a reference point. You knew everything. So before film began, you knew, okay, this I know. But rest of my films, I take you to a totally new universe and I connect with you like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And for the audience that are watching right now, what daily practices that you do that help you stay connected to your creative flow?
As far as I am concerned, I try to get up around 4:30 and 5. wherever I am. I mean, even if I sleep at 2 o'clock, I get up at that time. Now my body is set to that. And once I get up, after that, I sit down for some deep thinking. You can call it meditation. You can call it anything. I do some pranayama. First thing I do after I wash myself up, I do pranayama. I have
Okay.
some exercises which pranayama which help
Mhm.
me to wake up to the world. And after that, I sit in deep thinking. Okay, and it's not that I think about God or spirituality or consciousness, nothing of that sort. I don't know. I just sit and observe my thoughts, where it's leading me to. Okay, because thoughts don't come from nowhere. Thoughts come, even the cells of your body. What have you eaten the previous night will determine what you're thinking next morning. Do you know that?
Yeah.
You know, on
It
what
affects
note,
you.
on what note, you understand notes in guitar, at
Yeah.
what note you are leaving one phrase, you have to pick up from another note, has to do something with the previous note.
It
You
does.
cannot just pick up any note after one note.
You
It's
can.
not at random.
There has to be a
Every
transition.
It's a
Yeah.
pattern, it's
It's a
connected.
pattern.
So I sit in deep thinking, and that deep thinking leads me to some curiosity, some inquiry. And then I sit down, I do my research, writing, and all those kind of things. So in before everybody wakes up, in the world,
Mhm.
8 o'clock or so. So I sit for
Mhm.
2-3 hours. I do deep research on. Doesn't have to be research for my film. It can be deep research about anything, anything, anything. It doesn't matter. And after that, I am ready for the world. I do some physical workout, yoga, or whatever. On
Mhm.
different days, I do different things. I eat very simple food, so I don't have that problem of eating kya khana hai, kya khana hai. I
Yeah,
don't
but
have
that's
that
good.
pressure at all.
That's good. Yeah.
So, and I don't have that pressure at all.
Yeah.
And then I go to work, and then once I go to work, I go like a warrior, like a soldier. Okay, then I'm just a warrior. And then once I come back home, I shut myself off from the entire world. Generally by 7 o'clock, and by 7:30, I finish my dinner, and then I'm for my wife, for my family, for myself, for doing nothing. But then generally I'm cut off from the world. I personally don't like to meet people, do anything, pick up calls, watch TV. I don't watch TV
I
at all.
feel you. I feel
I
you.
just don't do
Yeah.
it. I mean, the problem is, you know what, Aryan, in this world, the biggest problem is that people all the times want to do something, so not doing is also a thing. So I never get that opportunity otherwise. So in these last hours of the day, I do nothing, and that is doing a lot for me.
That is because everybody's constantly trying to find one engagement to another, one party to another, in order to escape from what they really want. And just like in my song, it's like you want to be in that silence. It's where you want to be, and in that silence, you really find the ultimate truth.
I like the way you have used Satchit Anand in your
Oh,
lyrics. Where you wrote the lyrics.
yeah, I wrote the
Very well
lyrics.
done. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
Um, And my last question, just to conclude this podcast, just for some of the other artists that might be watching this, writers, directors, have you ever experienced a creative dark night of the soul, and how did you navigate it?
Okay, let me give you a very honest answer. If there is no dark night, there is no creativity. Every creative person is broken, shattered from inside. We are damaged goods,
Yeah.
right? Therefore, we are very fragile. And I always tell people that creative people are damaged people. Always take a lot of care of them. The problem is that creative people are most misunderstood people.
Mhm.
Okay, people think you create, oh, aha, it's so beautiful. You look at a painting and you say, ah, beautiful. You read a novel. In fact, people who write comedy, I have seen they are the most, they live tragic lives.
Yeah.
The
That's
problem is the dark nights are also coming because it's very difficult to explain yourself. I'm talking to you like this because you are a creative person. I can share with you. But otherwise, in a normal podcast, people are looking for sensational stuff, controversial stuff,
Yeah.
something which will go viral, which will make their podcasts,
Yeah.
popular. And so, therefore, they create a different kind of atmosphere, different kind of frequencies and vibes. So you get carried,
Yeah.
and you are very lonely. you are introvert, but at the same time, you are filled with the joy of nature. I don't think there can be any creative person who, where does this strength come from? Otherwise, they will die. That's why a lot of creative people also commit suicide or they get into drugs and all that because the nature is lacking in their life. It's the nature. So you have to hold on to something. Okay. And so I find my solace in nature. Nature is my mother. Nature is my father. Nature is everything. I am nature. The day I understood that nature is not outside, I am nature. When I'm in a forest, and if you look at it from outside, then I'm part of the nature as much as a deer or a tiger or a squirrel or a rabbit or the moving leaves. I'm as part of that
You're part
nature.
of it. You're one with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that oneness, so I am nature. So I derive all my energy, emotional solace, comfort, everything from Mother Nature.
So beautifully said. And I really resonate with that. I mean, even for me, I went to the Himalayas recently, and just when you're one with nature, the inspiration you get to create the art, it's exceptional. It's something else.
Yeah.
It was such an honor doing this podcast with you. And
Thank you, Aryan. You're a bright boy. You will go places.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Keep
much.
this faith and this good quality in you.